Do you remember the tuck shop was behind the hall? And there was a fumble, should I so chenda ku entrance your hall or something?
Yeah.
I remember you with your blazer. I remember you. it was not oversized. It was not oversized. It was a fitting blazer. But I just remember you walking so fast, whichever tuck shop going to the hall, and I feel like that's where I always met you at Gateway.
I swear.
Like you were going somewhere. I don't know.
I think my thing was, I should always look like I'm doing something, and
you did.
I'm a man on a mission. Like I didn't want to just be.
You always looked like you were
slouching,
busy.
So
that's what I remember. But I remember we were friendly though. Like we were just.
I
remember. Were we friendly?
Now Gateway is generally like that. Like you acknowledge people. You see someone, and unless like something has happened. Like that, and then.
Yeah, I know, but people didn't. I didn't fight with anyone for that long.
Okay.
And then the next time I saw you was in Curtin.
Okay.
And you know what? It was actually the very first day. Was it the very first day? It was like one of the first days that I got to Curtin. And I was like, thank God I don't know anyone here. I'm so far away from home. This is a small town in Malaysia. No one knows me here. And then there you were with your steps.
You were like, fuck it.
And I saw you getting into, what was it called? That place, the admin where you paid your fees and everything. That's where I was sitting.
I was actually working there.
You're working?
At the time, yeah.
What?
Yeah, I did an internship with Curtin at the international office.
Oh, you were at the international office?
Yeah, so
how were you on internship already?
That was a weird story because I was trying to make ends meet. So the dean gave me this chance. She said, you can be like the welfare officer. So like my thing was just to check on students, just to make sure everyone is cool where they're supposed to be.
And you did?
No, I tried.
You didn't check on me?
I tried.
Really?
I did.
No, you didn't check on me. You never checked on me.
I sent people to
I was going through a lot. You didn't check on me. I remember you didn't check on me at all.
No, but I would send people like Anna Martin.
Really?
To say, go talk to this person.
Okay.
Maybe they want to see this nightclub at this. I'd never been to the places. So mine was just to...
I needed someone to check on me.
I promise.
When I went to Malaysia. And I don't know why I went so far for school, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. All the way to Malaysia. But I did. And when I got there, it wasn't what I expected it to be. So if you're saying you were supposed to check on students, on international students, I really needed that checking. But anyways, life is life. So thank you for coming, Max. Thank you for coming to the pod.
It's a pleasure.
I am so happy that you're here. I'm so happy that you agreed to come. I didn't think you were gonna come. That's why I kept on checking.
I didn't think I was gonna come.
Max, please don't let me down.
Okay, but so there's a story of how I got here. I was supposed to have gone to church, but I overslept because we had events, like two events consecutively.
Okay.
So I was knackered. I couldn't wake up in time for church.
Okay.
So I overslept. Next thing I'm waking up, I think it was 2:12. And then I looked at my clock. For some reason, in my head, I think we were scheduled for like 1:30. In my head.
1:30 would have been good.
So I did all my get ready stuff. Go to the car. I tried to crank it. It won't start. And that was the beginning. Imagine, because this car, ordinarily it needs a push start, and I know this. So I should have like had this in mind.
In mind, but you're gonna need to push.
I'm gonna need to. So but there I was.
Yeah, it's
almost 12.
The car. Oh my
God! It won't start. So you know what I did? I then pushed the car, like from
by yourself.
By myself. That big old truck.
Dude.
I swear. It was like a scrum machine.
I've done that pushing before, but anyways.
Yeah, so I push it. So you've got to like wind round the yard, and then there's these like roots situations.
But how are you pushing a car by yourself? Doesn't it roll back?
It does at some points. And then when I got to this slightly steeper gradient, then I got a brick. You
jumped into the car?
No, I got a brick. Then I put it like behind one of the wheels. And then I took a breather. And I was like, okay, let's do this. Again, handbrake down, neutral. And then, but we won. So in the end, I got it outside the yard. Then I parked as if I was stranded. Like just some random old dude looking for help. Yet I just come from this gate.
Oh my gosh.
And then thankfully I had jumpers.
The drama you went through just to be here. Thank you.
It was dramatic.
Thank you so much. This is our first episode of the Pod ZW.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do in this series is unpacking Zim stereotypes, right?
Okay.
So I'm really happy that you're here, especially to talk about this topic, because I think you're the best person for us to talk about this topic.
Oh, that's interesting that you say that.
Yeah, I think you're the best person. I think, as you can see, the co-host today is a guy of many stripes. He has done so much. He has done so many things, according to me. I think like you have achieved so many things in life. To be honest, according to my bar of people, of people I have known since high school, you have achieved quite a lot. So, what have you gone through? You have done accounting and entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
You have done project management. Yeah. You have lived in 3 countries, more than 3 countries: Dubai, Malaysia, Mauritius. Yeah. To me, that's a great. You have like. It's such a rich mind that you have developed through being in so many different places. So, what I want us to talk about today is, are Zim schools trash?
That's a hot one.
In your opinion, are Zim schools trash? Because for me, the traffic of people getting out of Zim just for education, I think is a bit out of hand.
It is.
Is it because Zim schools are trash? Is it because UZ is trash? Is it because if I go to MSU, I haven't really gone to uni?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Panika feeling keke. I know there's a 6th form student somewhere, an upper 6th student somewhere preparing to go to China. Not because but because it's China.
They don't want to be in Zim.
Yeah.
And that's the object.
So because of that, are Zim schools trash, in your opinion?
I think it's a fair question, fair observation.
Yeah.
I think the answer, as with everything, is yes and no. But in this case, it's not yes and no. It's no and then yes. So I'll explain.
Okay.
It's no, they're not trash, and then they are. So like, as a child, in my opinion, I think as a child is progressing through primary school, we're okay. High school, I think we are still there or thereabouts. So as I was looking at some of the stats, I found that actually we've got 13 schools in the top 100 bracket of high schools in Africa. In the whole of from Cape to Cairo? From Cape to Cairo, so that's a significant chunk. Yeah. Because imagine, that's like 13%, just a tiny country like us. Yeah. So I thought that was remarkable. That was good. That's high school's pretty good, So high school, and then comes uni. Yeah. It's like everything. I feel the same way too, but it wasn't always like that, because people used to have like this pride of going to use it, and something just happened to the point. So I think it's mostly about, as I was thinking about this, I realized, I think if you're ever going to pursue uni and not go the route of starting to work straight after high school, then maybe you're looking at like a clear path to employment. So you want to do your time, 3 years, 4-year degree, and then post that, you want a job to be waiting for you somewhere. Yeah. But I think therein lies the problem. You might be looking at it to say, okay, I want to do law, but also, we've got one of the highest unemployment rates on the continent in the world. So I think if you're going to look at it from that perspective, then maybe you want to look elsewhere, just because there seems to be a clearer path to like then be working independent. But do you know what? Yeah. Even if you say that, you and I went to Malaysia, right? I think you've got a friend. You've got a friend. Okay. I'm so scared of this. It's okay. It looks harmless. Okay. You say that, right? Getting out of Zim will give you a clear path of where you want to go. I think it gives an illusion of...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's the illusion.
It's like an appearance.
Because I am living testimony of someone who went outside of Zim.
Yeah.
Because I thought there was nothing for me to use it. There was nothing for me to MSU.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And besides, I want that after I go to uni, I now have a job and everything. I wanted to excel my life. I wanted to propel my life. Do you know what I mean? But here we are, both of us back here. We literally went to the same uni and we are both here.
Yeah. So
what do you say? You know?
I think, first of all, I think one of the things I have observed, this could sound slightly controversial, but bear with me.
Okay.
So I think going to a private school
Yeah.
is probably where problems start for most of our kids. Because when you go to a private school, there's this entitlement mentality that kids from private schools have.
Yeah.
Such
we are better than other people. We are from the elite schools. Exactly.
There's us and then there's them.
Yeah.
So we went to Gateway.
Yeah.
And I can tell you straight off, if someone from, say, John's High were to try and get in between our conversation, very quickly we'll be like, hey.
Yeah, you know, you don't
nobody
fit
got time for that.
Yeah. We're here, you're here. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And so I think that's very wrong as well.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
I think that's where problems start.
And there's nothing, I don't think there's much we can do about that. Because there's a huge difference between Munagenda ku Peter House ne Munagenda ku Prince Edward.
That's true.
There's a huge difference.
That's true.
Saka Munagenda ku Peter House thinks kuti inini after ndabva ku Peter House I must go to Canada. I must go to England. I must go to Cambridge University. You know?
Where I was going with that.
Yeah.
You've got these kids, and I like that you said that.
Yeah.
Who've gone to these so-called elite high schools.
Yeah.
With this inaccurate view of the world and how it should work, what the world owes them. They go to places like we went to Malaysia.
Yeah.
You go to Malaysia and you're thinking, okay, I've got a degree now, so I'm eligible, say, to work as an accountant or as an auditor. But very quickly you find out actually those jobs are for the locals. In most cases, at least.
Exactly.
With the countries I've been to.
Yeah.
And so, because of that, you now realize, okay, so mabasa edu. And then, it's unfortunate, but this is the truth.
Yeah.
It's more about race, because I've lived in the UAE. I've lived a little bit in SA. Everywhere I've been, Mauritius even. It's more like kune mabasa edu as locals. And then, to be a foreigner and to be in those jobs, you've got to be special. And then if you're average, you end up, typically you work in retail, you're selling shoes, which was me in Dubai, you know, and quickly you find yourself in Dubai.
Okay.
You know, you're selling shoes.
Okay.
The paycheck is not so terrible, to be fair. It's all right.
Because it's Dubai.
Yeah, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
But then I've come from Gateway, and at Gateway, you know, I had this... I quickly had to correct that, you know. You're working with these guys from Pakistan, Nepal, Philippines. All they have is like a high school education.
But they're doing the same thing.
They're doing the same thing, sometimes even getting paid higher than you.
Okay.
And very quickly you find yourself surrounded with these people.
Yeah.
So mafungiro because for them the ceiling is to be store manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if they make it as that,
that's it. Yeah.
You know, but you hold ambitions of maybe being in corporate.
Exactly.
Working for a bank, you know,
better,
like you really, which is not a terrible thing to do that. But then I found myself struggling now.
Yeah.
Because I'm working with these people. I've got to show them the same respect. Even though sometimes you argue over in your education you are going to show like literally.
No, because we are educated in Zimbabwe. Because our schools might be trash, but you know we are really educated. Reasoning capacity is, you know, it's not that low. Yeah. So you know what, as you speak about that, there's something I'm really passionate about. I think our parents are wasting a lot of money because generation yaoka, they think kuti if I send mwanangu to China, okay, let's even start with locally. If I send mwanangu to Gateway, already I've opened the floodgates of money. I've opened the floodgates of success for my child, which is not necessarily true, because here I am, went to Gateway, I have no money.
I promise.
I have nothing. I have nothing to my name yet, and that's one. I went to the top 1% schools in the world. Curtin University is actually top 1% schools in the world. Still no money. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like as parents, there needs to be better research on where you're sending your child for school. And you're sending your child to school to China. What else later I say after that degree? Because like you were talking, I still have ambitions. I want to have money because I've been conditioned to think the path that I'm in will give me money. But my with China, I finished my degree. I can't speak Mandarin. I can't stay here. So here I am back in Zim with people who have gone to NAST, people who have gone to Women's University. Same queue. We're all just doing the same thing. But my parents have forked out money for plane tickets, for accommodation, for school fees. So what would you say? I mean, like, you've had the experience now.
I think the first thing, and I like that you said that, very quickly, I think I realized there's a bit more pressure on those who've had that kind of background to say you went to John's, Arundel, you name it, Falcon. Because there's no way you can tell me you went to Falcon and now you work for Edgar's. Even if, honestly.
But that's what's going on. That's what's happening. Let me tell you, my brother actually went to Falcon.
Okay.
My brother went to Falcon, and then he went to India, to Parul University.
Okay.
And he did civil engineering, but he's sitting at home right now.
Yeah.
Civil. They're all sitting at home.
Yeah.
Saka, what are parents doing wrong? What are we doing wrong?
I think the question then is, I think we're too short-sighted, maybe. I think we're just focused on Mwana should have a degree from university foreign, you know. But without actually considering my chances, because I'll give you an example of my sister. So in my family, everyone else but my sister went outside for uni. I was at Curtin. My younger sister went to Wits. My brother was also in Malaysia. I forgot the uni. Okay. But the three of us, we went abroad. My sister stayed. She was at NAST. Yet now, I think my sister's doing better than all of us.
Exactly.
Because she sits on the board of a bank, which I'm not going to name. But that's
which bank?
Nah, I can't.
She sits on the board of which bank?
I can't name.
See, this is the problem with Zimbabweans.
No, I can't name it.
We also want to be on boards, guys.
No, because I think she's angling to leave. So
okay.
If I reveal that,
Maxwell's sister, kudos to you for being on the board of so and so bank. We also want to be on boards.
But anyway, I think where I was going with that, when you then come back into the local context of Zim, I think you've got to understand the dynamics of how Zim works. So, for example, it's not automatic that you're going to start off on the board of some bank. You probably have to do a thing, those graduate trainee programs. And how many of us
are invited to boards here? I didn't know that. You're invited to boards. Apparently people are creating their own tables and sitting on them now. Because there's so many boards now. Because I was asking my boss, like my previous boss, Kuti, how do you get on all these boards? She's like, mainly it's just invitations. Just like knowing people and being invited. But anyway, I digress. So I think where I was going with that, you've come from a uni, let's say even in the UK, but now you've got to go through a graduate trainee program at some small law firm. I think very quickly you can find yourself thinking, this is too low for me. Exactly.
And because you're choosy like that, you'll be choosy from your couch at home. Until nepotism makes way. Because to be fair, if we were to be fair, I think most of the children who've been to elite schools and end up, this is a bit controversial, I'm sorry guys, but I think most of you who've gone to these elite schools,
need to humble yourself.
They end up there more because of nepotism, because of who their parents are.
Okay, yeah, of course.
Because of who they know, who their relatives are.
Of course.
But not on merit. It's not.
Oh, yeah, it's not on. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's not to say I'm special at this. That's why I sit on this board.
Yeah.
So I think it's a double-edged sword a little bit. Like, for example, if I end up in a high position because of nepotism, I'm going to be confident. I think generally, if we're going to talk of confidence as an issue, Tingangweti children who go to these elite schools, maybe they're slightly more confident.
But is that why we're paying thousands for confidence? Anyway, that's another topic for another day. Because me, I have a bone to pick also with parents who are willing to spend thousands. 4 grand to go to Falcon.
No,
what's the difference?
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Would you send your, let's say you've got the means.
Yeah.
Would you rather, let's say you either have a choice between 2 vacations, maybe one younger, and then maybe second half of the year you go to Dubai, but your kids are going to a place, let's say Prince Edward, or Churchill.
Okay.
Or you send them to Arundel or wherever.
Do you know what? Yeah. Do you know what? You're not the first person to ask me this.
Okay.
And I am this makes me very emotional. You know, this makes me excited and emotional at the same time. So my dad, he really worked hard for us to go to good schools.
Okay.
All of us went to really the best schools in Zim. I'm not even joking. My sister went to Gandhi. I went to Gateway. My brother went to PE when it was still PE.
And you then came to Gateway,
in the 2001 when PE was really good. And and my other brother went to Falcon. Do you know what I mean? So those are the best schools because I don't know what my dad was trying to do. Maybe he thought, if I send my kids to these schools, then it's the gateway for money. But there are days that we didn't eat nyam.
Yeah.
There are days that we ate as an electro.
Yeah.
There are days that we Christmas was not Christmas. Do you know what I mean? And for me, that's what matters the most.
Yeah.
I want to get home and eat good food, child.
Yeah.
Christmas, I want to go to Cape Town. Do you know what I mean? I would rather go to an average school, and I'm not saying Eagles was an average school, but I'm saying compared to Falcon.
Okay.
I would rather go to an Eaglesville. I would rather go to a Cheesy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And not to Falcon.
Yeah.
I would rather not spend 4 grand a term just for my child to write the same Cambridge that someone at Spaces is writing. Do you know what I mean? So if your question is, would you rather have a good life compared to your child going to a good school?
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's a no-brainer, right?
I mean, like, not a good school, but an A school.
An A school.
These schools are extorting people. They are scamming people. Because Cambridge Arafanana. Cambridge Arafanana. So why am I paying 4 grand instead of $800 a term? Like, what am I trying to do? Accent. Like, I don't get it.
I think, to be fair, I think my theory on that is that it's also about prestige. I think
exactly.
If your kids
that's
go
all
to,
it's about, actually.
And not with everyone, but I think in most cases it's about prestige. So it's about being known kuti ndakakurira kubuera.
Exactly.
That's you know.
I think it has nothing to do with the kids.
It's got nothing.
Everything to do with the parents.
Status,
Exactly.
But we've made it. You know, and you know, when you come to my social gathering like church, they're the ones with the bouginess, the accents, you know. So,
but I think I think the problem actually, what I'm gathering from this conversation, is the problem is mostly with our parents of today, right? We're getting into a new generation now of millennial moms and dads, and I feel like as millennials, becoming parents now, we should really think hard about where we are sending our children for school, because the baby boomer parents that we had thought kuti kwende samwana who China is the best thing I can do for myself, but it's really not, because futhi still in the same Zimbabwe to the being in the same queue with Wanoku use it that you escaped.
And you know what? I think whilst we are on that, the question always is, how badly do you need your child to go abroad? You talked about your struggles in your preliminary years with Curtin. Does your child really have to endure that? Like the toll it takes on your mental health?
Exactly.
That's
another thing.
You know? And what you were saying earlier about, you know, like how sometimes things are not quite it, you know, when you're in high school. Same thing when you're in uni. It's not every day that you've got money in your...
Exactly.
But then these are all things which are avoidable. Like if I'm at NAST, I can't imagine, because I can tell you of times when I was at Curtin, I literally had oats for like a whole like 1.5 weeks. You know, just
because
on
Mara
oats.
Is such how we are from home.
You know, and how I even came to be buying oats is because I get into Bintang. Don't know, they've got a promotion. I can get 20. I'm like, I'm gonna
going to school overseas. So, oh my God, the struggle.
So I would buy like 20 packs.
Of oats.
When I'm walking from school, you know, I find bananas. Okay, today we're having bananas and oats. Tomorrow,
that's a good combination though.
It is. It goes down. But,
it does.
No, but all I'm getting at is you don't have to go through
you
all
don't
that.
Have to. You don't. We really don't have to.
But then at the same time, I think we need to be balanced, because I think that makes you as a person. I think I am thankful personally because of the hardships I would go through in uni. I don't know if you knew this, but do you remember Pardon?
Yeah, I remember Pardon. Where was he from? Nigeria?
Pardon was Zimbabwe.
Was Zimbabwe?
He was Zimbabwe.
Wait. But I remember Pardon. He was slim, he was
a bit dark.
Yeah, a bit dark. I remember Pardon,
So, Pardon and myself, weekends, we're at this factory. So it's the equivalent of Mazoe, but the Malaysian Mazoe. We're there stacking boxes. So firstly, we had to stack them by flavor. With my pineapple essay, and then by size. So my 1 liter essay, my 500 ml essay.
Okay, what was that
liters. For them to dispatch to stores. Like,
oh, really? You paid for it?
We were paid,
Oh, okay.
But this gig,
it was hard.
We suffered. We suffered.
You guys are struggling for coins.
In the sweltering heat of Malaysia.
Yeah, Malaysia is hard.
And you'd be, it was. But then, I mean, from one viewpoint, it was a hardship. But then it makes you, because now you come across situations, you're like, I've been through worse.
But wait, now that you say that, right? Your parents had money to send you to Malaysia. But today, waka Mario, wakaenda use it. Do you think now that you have gone through the struggle of being a student overseas, and you know what, your parents are not bowling and driving my Rolls Royce in Zim, do you know what I mean? They're actually really sacrificing for you to be there. They're literally
selling the cars and for me to still be here.
That story of my life.
That messes you up.
So now when you're thinking, was it better for you to go to NAST Zako? And you would have enough pocket money for you all the time. And you would still have your degree. You're still applying for jobs in Zim. Your life could have been exactly the same. Do you think it would have been better for you to stay or to go?
I think staying for sure would have been. But that said, I think staying, I don't think... Okay, so my thing is either way we win. Whether you go out or whether you stay, I think either way, if you're focused enough, if you keep walking on that straight and narrow, at some point something's going to give and you wind up in that big office.
Exactly.
That's either way. Think. But I think if we're to be objective and just look at the facts, all those cars didn't need to have been sold.
Oh my God.
Stand the ends that would have been like a foundation for you.
You could have put that in my name. You could have put it in my name
without having to sell it, So I think if we were to be objective about it, quickly you realize actually there's no need to send kids to these expensive places.
Exactly. There's no need to sell your assets.
But then at the same time, we've got to also put ourselves in their shoes, because our parents, I think, they are new money, old money. So I think our parents
had a lot of new money. And a lot of zunga around new money. And not knowing what to do. And
they had to look the part. They needed to be spoken of in a certain, mazano wakachona. Because picture this. Mwana has gone, let's say, because already high school has happened. Mwanaenda ku Heritage or Gateway or wherever. And then all of a sudden, akaenda pa UZ. So it kind of looks like, So I think pressure that you create early on from high school, it's sustained through uni, and Mwana has gone to. I know of children who are in places like Cyprus, living in a horrible condition.
Exactly.
Getting stabbed and all this drama is happening. But Mbereki,
yeah, I think our parents need they thrive from
that energy.
Energy. I think it's more of their achievement than ours. Like I said, it's really more of their achievement than ours.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Now comes the question: if Mwana is to tsika madziro, but
and this could Mario stand in my name. Can I start building my house off of all the school fees you were going to pay?
Won't they call the pastor to pray for you?
They'll never agree to that. Obviously, I think it makes more sense because now I think I'll have the conversation with my dad actually. Just to say, like stand for Maria
that will just make him feel bad.
No, I like having I like having those conversations with you.
I think when you look at let me speak from my experience. There are people who sort of have their foundation, but now that you're working, you stand kwakat. And that's like your little at least you know but then you've come from, let's say, UK, Northampton University. No stand.
No, nothing, broke,
and you've got to start from scratch. So I think it actually leads on to something. Which then, coming back to the topic, that then suggests they're not as
trashy. Schools trash.
That's what I was about. They might not be as trashy.
After always been said and done, are Zim schools trash? Can we conclude to say that Zim schools are trash?
I think they appear to be trash. But actually, if you're then looking at, because I think also there's something there. If we're going to look at my university, what criteria do we use to say this uni is better than others? So I tried to look into this. Then I saw that it's mostly about the research that's come out. So if, for example, they use it, they come up with this innovative idea on how to solve congestion issues, then, we look at that as valuable research. And all of a sudden, and then there's also about my accreditation in my international institution.
Where do you rank, in Africa? Let's start there,
So looking at that, I think our highest ranked in the top 100 bracket is the user, which is that number 48.
48 out of 100 unis
out of 100 in
Africa.
Which is, I think, quite dismal.
But
it hasn't always been like that. Because I think back in the day when our parents were growing up, probably, I think I'm realizing something. Because our parents went to UZ, when UZ was it, I kind of feel like our parents might think, I want my kids to have better than
UZ,
And so because of that, there's no way they're sending you to use it. You've got to go to wherever, Curtin, Swinburne, wherever. Because so I think probably that's also part of the reason why we've got that mass exodus.
The traffic is just too high. And then the traffic of people coming back now to China is also way too high. Do you know what I mean? So I think something needs to be done. I think before I end up with China, ask yourself, is it necessary for me to actually go to China? Is it necessary for me to go to Malaysia? What am I getting out of China? Am I just going there for the experience? Because yes, it's nice to be in Asia. It's nice to be somewhere far away from Zim. It's nice to experience a new life. I personally just enjoyed going up at ATM and withdrawing real money that actually comes out of the ATM. I enjoyed shopping online.
For me, one of the best memories of Mauritius, the time I was there, typical month end, people have money. It doesn't matter, but people are going out as families and spending. I used to enjoy just seeing family chibudamuka skoro kave ikapu onotengerwa boots then they do ice cream and then the kids are happy. The energy,
life, man.
I love that. It's typical
and we're
Sunday.
struggling to do that
in Zim, you can't tell with Muswa 14. Because there are those people who perpetually eating $100 bill for food.
Exactly.
So I think that's one of the things. And also, I think sending your kids to this, I think you can attest to.
Yeah.
That international sort of mentality, maybe. Yeah. You become a bit more like.
A bit more, yes. Yeah, exactly.
So, for example,
a bit more you're
open-minded.
Open-minded, yeah. You see the world with a global view now.
So I'll give you the example of Islam.
Yeah.
If I had never gone to Curtin, probably I would still have had this extremist view of this Islam. Religion is devilish, blah blah blah, as they say. Yet I'll give you an instance that happened. I traveled to KL for, I think I was renewing my passport at the embassy, and then I needed to catch a flight back to Miri, Kwebane University. So I don't know how this happened, but all I know is I had my laptop. Next thing, then kumuka to an announcement. The last call flight Chabuti gate will be closing.
By
the time I found my gate, halas, it was done. My
flight was gone.
My flight was gone.
And
there I was making the walk of shame. I know in my bank account I had enough. I'm gonna withdraw, get enough for the taxi, and the next couple of days afterwards, and then those question. That's how much I have. So I asked to speak to the manager. Okay, so you've got to pay the flight difference between the flight you've missed and the next one. So I think this guy, a Muslim guy, because in Malaysia how they are clad in that thing and the robes. So I think he's watching all of this from afar. I can go gara. Mano yarara. Asara. Popotezana. Zaramba. Adoka. So he felt compelled to help. So I feel a tap on my shoulder. Because I don't guy papa good man and later say,
what am I gonna do?
Don't take this nobuda pants, don't take this laptop here. Like how do I escape this,
Yeah.
Tap on the shoulder. Guy only power like a stack. I don't know what denominations they were, but my ringgit,
Okay,
a significant chunk.
Ringgit is the Malaysian currency.
I get this money. And I want to say thank you, but also I'm confused. What's happening? So I say, you saying it's okay, and he starts to walk away.
Wow.
And then I'm looking at this money sitting.
How much was it?
I don't remember.
Wow.
But it was enough.
Because it was a stack?
Yeah, it was enough for me to be comfortable for the next couple of whatever. Like I was genuinely, it changed my life.
Oh my goodness.
So there I was, sitting there. And honestly, like in hindsight, on reflection, I've thought about this incident a lot of times and thought, the people I know who ascribe to the religious beliefs that I ascribe to and whatever,
they
8 times out of 10, 9 times they're not gonna
give you a stack of money. Yeah,
they're not gonna do that to a stranger.
Yeah,
even let alone for me.
Yeah.
So that changes you. So and then
wow, yeah, you come back with a broader view of life. Really, that if it's worth that, then I guess going overseas, paying all that money to go overseas just for you to view the world in that way, may be worth it-ish. But in terms of the certification of Ndane degree, I mean,
that's where
the struggle is too hard just for you to get that piece of paper.
So I've found myself in certain work circumstances. You've got this person who is being said to have come from a Canadian university, and there's some companies that automatically, once they see your resume, Canada. Already they've got to be in a supervisory role. There's no way we're putting this person in a cubicle, So up your office. And very quickly the company realizes, my way, we made a mistake.
Because
never on time.
It would have been better to actually employ someone Angari in Zim the whole time because they have that street smart.
Anything, I worked at a certain audit firm once upon a time where such an instance happened. munhu apinzwa haazive anything about our tax system here, VAT kuno. Apparently they had come from a place, Australia kune, like, I don't know, the Australian one, which was different from here. And this person now had to adjust. And you could just tell that it's a sinking ship.
There's also that huge adjustment from China. It has 6 years, but you're gonna need to come back here and work in this work environment, and adapting to that is a whole new thing altogether now.
So I think when I look at my uni experience, why I think I would have been better served being local is because I look at the trajectory. Is it first 2 years? And then you do your internship, and then final year.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool, actually. Because first 2 years, wapi were the theory base of, how to navigate, let's say, accountancy. Maybe uchawana a clerical job, and then eventually what or not, it's zakangwana. And then you get something a bit more high end,
And you're along the way, you're picking up very vital skills.
Your final year, and then you're reintroduced into the working world. It's you're different from Nabalket.
Very
3 years of just book.
Very different,
So I look at it sometimes and I think, maybe I would have been better served being local.
Being local, definitely. It's either, for me, if I had been local, it would have really better served me, because I don't know, there's just smart that you don't know.
I'll tell you a story of when I had just come back from Mauritius. We needed to pay our internet bill, Rezo. So they asked me to go and do them the honors. What do I do? Ndaenda kuzone ma US angu. Ndashika biredi mari. And they told me, I think it was like 300,000 ZW, I don't remember how much. And then I said, okay, my US mari. And then they calculate using their bank rate. So I paid, I think the equivalent of like 200, some crazy rate. Then I go home, internet yakushanda, everyone's happy. Thanks. And then I was open my question later. So
how much did you pay?
I'm like, I at 200. And like I'm saying all these things. But Munanduk Nae is still caught up in that jaw drop moment. Like,
what did you just do?
You spent 200. So
I know.
I said, okay, you haven't said anything. You all now say what's good.
You could have gone outside to change your bonds. And those are things that you,
So Ndoka was streetwise. Diaspora.
And besides that, I feel like it's so much more than that, because how to apply, where to apply, you probably have done your internship at Fossil or wherever. Now it's much easier for you to go back there. So I think they're already way ahead of people who are coming from China.
You what, I think Zimbabwe is different. Like the dynamics of Zimbabwe are different. You don't make it in life by having an 8 to 5. Zimbabwe. Unaenda kubasa kwa kati wodzoka ngwa, then you sleep next day. That mentality ebinda uko yekuti okay, so I'm a CA, ndoita zvekubasa, but then I have clients. Yekuti ndoenda kwa kati, I do their books, they give me a retainer every month, and I get 200 from, let's say, shopping on the Carols, another one, That's the Zimbabwean mentality. When you come from abroad, you
really need to first go through,
initiation.
Exactly, and it's a tough initiation that you need to, until you catch up.
I think if you're going to look at education, and say, is it trash or not? Probably, likely, we're saying it's not trash. Because if I'm teaching you to be street smart, and I'm also kind of giving you enough, because I think that's where we're a bit behind, with research, even in terms of Panama basics, kushanza computer,
technology,
so I think we're a bit behind there. But I think if we were to look at it, really balanced with the wellness, someone has had like the best conditions to thrive and to continue to thrive.
And just proximity, family and friends.
One of the things about being abroad is that detachment from reality.
The social, just like the depression that you have to initially.
My plastic bag it's just you living this superficial
life in your box. That's
so it's not a good thing, I think.
Going overseas. Maybe I think we should have named this episode the struggles of living overseas as a student.
That's what it's mostly.
Anyway, I don't know where our time is now, but I think we have discussed quite a bit. I think we've talked about a lot. I don't know which camera is working, but I want you to face the camera and say your last words and your opinion on whether Zim schools are trash.
All right, so I would say Zim schools are borderline trash. No, they give trash. But actually, when you then look at how someone turns out in life and how they then make it in terms of being able to fit in my social settings, corporate, how to handle situations, then quickly you realize, actually, it's not so bad. But I think the first impression is that they're trash, which to a certain extent is true. But then the more you look at it, even if we were to look at the top 100, say, top 50 successful entrepreneurs in Zim, you may be surprised to find most of them and the CEOs who sit on these boards actually went to local universities. Whereas wakaenda kunana Northampton, I keep saying Northampton, I'm sorry guys. But you find those people mostly they're doing the admin work because they're not quite polished enough. So I think the answer is a yes and no. But I think we've done some things well. And one of the things we've done well is to make sure our kids have a good command of English, which I think is important. Whether it's in the local context or international, it's important. I think our products, Zim education system, they have a very solid reasoning. Like they are the way they deduct and reach decisions, it's logical and they can justify. It's not just to a haphazard. So I think we've done certain things well, but certainly I think we are lagging way behind in terms of the technology aspect, with my research, computers, engineering. I think in certain places you've got Vana who do computer engineering. By the time they're done with uni, they are developing apps, they're doing all these crazy things. Whereas the Susu teacher got W. I've literally seen such. So
that's insane.
So I think it's a yes and no.
It's a yes and a no.
Yeah, but
I think I also agree.
To a large extent, I think it's more no than yes. I think
because there's so many things that are working against us. The economy is bad. We don't have I guess Zim schools are struggling, especially universities, acquiring really the good things that we need in terms of technology. I think that's where it gets trashy. But thank you, Max, for coming. Thank you, Max. Oh my gosh, Vasha came. I am still like in awe.
In my head, I kept on playing back this scenario where how do we have this conversation without it getting political?
Wait, do you know what? I wouldn't have minded if we had gone a little bit, because you know what? I don't like separating our livelihoods from politics, because politics really it weighs heavily on our everyday lives. But you know what? Today
may that be a conversation for another day.
When you come back.
No, with someone else, please.
Thank you so much, Maxwell, for coming. I think before we close, I want you to do something. I need you to tell us something that people can get on. Like, are you reading a book? Are you watching a series? And something someone can get from you. I'll go watch this on Netflix or on YouTube. Just for our audience to kind of get onto.
Okay, so I'm a boring person, like in general. I don't watch movies. I don't listen to pods in general. This I will listen to.
You better.
I'll make an attempt.
You better.
But I'll speak of an epiphany I've had, like something I've realized, which has maybe changed the way I used to maybe play the victim. I used to find myself victimizing circumstances, which, if this hadn't happened, maybe, So I realized everyone, has their own story. And everyone is in their own world. Carol has her world, you know, and she's fighting to make herself better, do better than Pangari last year, you know. This year she wants it. So Carol has her thing going, and there I am, you know. Ndukujikwampi na Carol. I'm supposed to look at myself, you know.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to focus on my world, making my world amazing, just as Carol should
basically
you know?
Staying in your lane and
you know,
doing stuff in your lane, yeah,
and making Jirim in your world better, so that you make. And I realized by doing that, just, you know, that perspective, Yakuti, I've got to make my world better.
Yeah.
You're going to come across my situation, which otherwise would have made you feel down, depressed, out, you know.
Preach!
You know, but then you realize, good, actually, you know, this is me, you know, this is my story.
Yeah.
It's my world, you know. I've got to tell this. So how do I turn this Shaitika into a positive? How do I, you know, and I think once you reach that level, or it's funny how I say level, as if you, but I think lately I've been finding, because I view things like this, it makes it easier. So for example, you're in traffic, someone does something silly, they cut you off. So, you know, you could choose, you know, kukuburisa tsinga and, you know, lift the middle finger and do all these. But then also, you know, you just want to have a good day.
Yeah.
You don't want this to ruin your day.
So you'd rather choose not to do that, yeah.
So you'd rather, because sometimes I think you're looking at ego, and road rage. It's more about ego. But that's because you're looking at Munu, how do I make them feel? But if you're going to focus on just making your world better, my day should be as perfect as it can be. I think you'll find yourself being very calm and just smiling, you know, as you face life and all of its challenges. So,
all right, so I guess it's a word of advice. It's not a movie. It's not a movie. It's not a book. It's a word of advice for Max. Stay in your lane.
Okay.
Stay in your lane.
Say like
that is.
It is kind
that's
of
a mind your business. Thank you so much, Max. You don't know. I'm so happy that you came. Thank you so much, and thank you so much to everyone who's been watching. Thank you guys for watching our first episode of the Pod ZW. There's gonna be so much more coming, guys. We're gonna do so much more. This is a 10-part series that we're doing on just unpacking Zim stereotypes. So please do comment. We want to hear your comments. Are Zim schools trash? Is it worth it going to China, guys? Is it worth it, or should we just stay and go to women's university, NAST, use it, or should we go? Because the traffic of people going in and coming out is just way too much. So thank you guys for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, share, and yeah, that helps us to create more content. So I do hope that you guys are going to be hooked for the rest of this season.